Things are moving fast and crazy. We undercover the biggest news story of our time, and it is not Trump. It's that the livable atmosphere is deteriorating at an alarming rate, and we have done nothing in our leadership about climate change that would make the biggest story in the world, the apocalyptic news, that the world is ending. And livable air, and we're going to be fighting over water very soon. Excellent. And food, water and food. We underreport that story as we talk a lot about Trump. And so we fall behind. And aliens, we did talk about them yesterday because we have discovered now and the government has acknowledged, yes, there are other life forms in the vast earth. And in the middle of this, Molly Jong-Fast joins us, and she is the podcast host of Fast Politics. Molly Jong-Fast. I keep getting that wrong, and I'm going to keep apologizing. Thank you, Molly, for being on with us, because I believe, as Slate believes, that you are presently covering in the Trump indictment something that Slate writes. This federal indictment just handed down by Special Counsel Jack Smith is not only the most important indictment by far of former President Donald Trump, it is perhaps the most important indictment ever handed down to safeguard American democracy and the rule of law in any U.S. court against anyone. Do you agree with that assessment, that we can't be so numb to news and immune to the way that this man just has a million Watergates to not understand that presently the former president of the United States is someone who can only beat the justice of America by knocking down democracy, by having the checks and balances not work, by staying out of jail because he has fomented so much division that he just topples democracy. It's the only way he can win. Are you of the same assessment, or do you think differently?
So I would say this is a really interesting indictment, because this is the first indictment about when Trump tried to change the election, tried to overturn the election, tried to, the fake electors. This is the stuff that really was kind of much more detrimental to democracy, right? There are other cases, and maybe this Georgia case too, which is coming up, will also involve the fake electors, but it's different. And it's also a federal case, which makes it a much bigger deal. And as opposed to the documents case, which is going to be tried in Florida, this will be tried in the District of Columbia.
But are we at a spot with this because Trump, we're having ridiculous conversations about it's going to be Trump and Biden again, and is the only way that Trump can get out of being arrested is becoming president again? Like, we're dealing with such absurdities here that it can't be that this indictment is just shrug your shoulders. He's not having any trouble sleeping at night because he knows he could just topple democracy and win this thing, especially if there's another insurrection, especially if there's more violence. Like, that isn't what all of this that we're presently covering as news, isn't it what it portends?
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, this is not a position you want to be in a functioning democracy. I mean, you have a certain kind of like Italy in the 1980s Berlusconi thing going, where he wants to get reelected so he won't have to go to jail. Again, this is where we are. Look, it would have been much, much, much better for everyone had these charges come right away, had Bob Mueller, had one of the many, had they impeached and removed him after the January 6th. But there has been a lot of political cowardice at every step. There have been Republicans. Again, for Democrats, it's been a little more complicated. They haven't had the votes, but there has been a real cowardice at every point. I mean, remember, Republicans could have gotten rid of this guy after January 6th. They could have gotten rid of him after he lost. They could have gotten rid. I mean, they've had so many opportunities, and at every time they've held themselves hostage and held themselves up for ransom. And so we find ourselves, in a situation here where they now have to choose between Trump and the rule of law, right? They have to choose between Trump and democracy itself. This is a crisis completely of the Republican Party's own making. And they are choosing Trump, right? We're seeing this. You're seeing powerful Republicans defend Trump, say this is a political witch hunt. obviously this fake elector scam is not a political witch hunt. It's a fake elector scam. And that's not how we do it in this country. So I think that there's not much to do. Now Trump will try to kick the can and to not, to push this off as much as possible. I don't know how it goes.
Do you, Molly, hello.
Yeah.
Do you find that, you say that the Republican Party is held hostage and has made this choice. Do you see any shift with voters? Do you think this will make any difference with any of the people who have voted for him in the past or who were planning to still? Like, is anything slipping?
I mean, I think there are certainly Republican voters who've gotten sick of it, right? And you see this with DeSantis. I mean, they're moving on. There's certainly some section, and you have people you have more people standing up to Trump than you did before, right? You have Will Hurd, you have the New Jersey governor, Chris Christie. I mean, you're seeing some amount, even, Bill Barr, who is nobody's idea of a hero, and Mike Pence, both of them on television saying that Trump did the wrong thing. So again, the calculus is too late.
It's just such a low bar. It's such a low bar on leadership, on leading a country that's in peril, that you would be saluting Mike Pence and Christie, the people who lost to this cartoon creature who comes and threatens shit so completely, Molly, that yesterday's story, the biggest story ever involving an American president in scandal, is sort of like, yeah, he can withstand it because he's flipping about democracy. He knows he can break the system. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Like, it can't be that. This country can't be that.
I'm not even sure that he can. I mean, ultimately, his campaign is just trying to stay alive another day. So there is the punditry, industrial complex that has one thought about him. But in the Trump campaign, they are just trying to survive another day. So I don't know that he does survive this. I mean, look, he may win the GOP nomination, but I think he has not grown the electorate. I think his game will be to try to win the Electoral College again. I think that the economy is strong and Biden has done a good job. Look, it's very crazy that we're in this situation, but this was the kind of calculus that these Republicans made, and they put us in it.
I should point out, incidentally, I didn't in introducing her, that she writes a weekly newsletter for Vanity Fair. She's a special correspondent. And your latest article about Ron DeSantis, you write, quote, "No amount of donor dollars can make DeSantis, MAGA marionette, traipsing across Iowa and New Hampshire, seem like a real human boy." How is it that DeSantis lacks such charm that everyone knows that he can't debate Newsom and he's going to not out-charm Trump, that the greatest threat to Trump is somebody who clearly can't beat Trump?
Yeah. I mean, that part of that is the fault of the National Review crew. And it's not my party, so I'm not going to tell them what to do, but they are just devastated. DeSantis was their man. They thought for sure that, it wouldn't matter, that he had no personality and that voters wouldn't care. I mean, the Republicans do this all the time. They did this with Scott Walker. They did this with Ted Cruz. They think that that there's a lane for hostile, weird Republican candidates. Why is this person yelling at me? You watch DeSantis in Iowa meeting people and saying things like, the person says their name and he says, "Good for you." I mean, or "Okay." That's not how politicians are supposed to do it. So I don't know. I mean, those few thought leaders, quote unquote, and I use quotes because they're so out of the mainstream at this point. Those few GOP thought leaders are really out of their depth. The party wants, this kind of incredibly addictive Trumpism, and it's this populism, crazy populism pushed by a fake billionaire, and they like it. So I don't know that the Republicans have much of a shot here.
It is still crazy to think, though. I thought for some reason, I guess I'm naive, right, that this country and the people who live in it would value just a little more, no matter what your politics are, right? Because I don't understand some of this stuff. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
I would give yourself a little more credit and say, actually, we have seen in these last elections that people have voted on democracy. They have voted on choice. They have voted on a lot of the issues that you and I hold dear. So I wouldn't say that. I mean, I would say if you look at Wisconsin, Wisconsin is a very cut down the middle state. They reelected a Democratic governor. They elected a progressive Democratic judge who's pro-choice. I mean, you're seeing a lot of people saying, no, we don't like this. We don't like the racism. We reject it. And so I do think that there are a lot of really good people in this country, and they are actually pretty serious. I mean, you know, in Ohio, they have this Prop 1 on the ballot. On August 8th, there's going to be Prop 1, and it's basically making the threshold higher for Ohioans to put in ballot initiatives, because the liberal ballot initiatives are so popular. So they're making the threshold 60%, and the turnout has been humongous. So I do think there are a lot of regular people in purple states who are not happy with this and who are getting out there and making their voices heard.
So you're saying to me, and this is probably the proper perspective, that as I'm appalled that this would gather, that FAST says that authoritarians threatening democracy would gather any support, isn't the America I thought I was living in. You're telling me, well, no, a lot of people feel that way. Most voters feel that way. And if you take away a woman's rights and racism and run on a platform of, yeah, Nazis are okay, I want the Proud Boys as my base. No, that's a line too far. Voters, no matter how much you gerrymander, no matter how much you claim fake voting, voters will say, no, it can't be the fraud real estate guy who's clearly a criminal toppling not just journalism, but just democracy because he says he can.
That's my take. I think you're going to be surprised. I think you're surprised in the midterms, 2020. I think, look, we all have to, worry, and we're Democrats, so we do worry. That's what we do. But I think most people don't like this kind of populism. And I think most people don't like women losing the right to have an abortion. And I think that, you're seeing lots and lots of people, pregnant women, having real horror stories. And I think ultimately people want their doctors deciding their health care and not their judges.
Fast Politics is the podcast. And Molly, thank you for the time. I should tell the people that if you want to make this something that is bite-sized, if all of the things in America that are troubling you in politics and with the lack of leadership, Fast Politics in the title suggests you can make it a little bite-sized for them, right? So it's less. You're trying to make it less complicated and less shrill than I am screaming from the mountaintops. What the is the matter with all you people? Don't you understand democracy's under threat? Really? An orange real estate agent from New York who's clearly a criminal? Really? That's what we're doing? She'll do it more peacefully than that. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
The water instead of the soda.
Amin is unprofessional. This is a problem we have around here. It's pretty consistent. Guess we're starting. We started a while ago with your lack of professionalism. I asked you to start the segment, and you were on the verge of a belch because you've decided to come in from 120-degree heat and drink a Coca-Cola, carbonated drink, and then be surprised when it gurgles in your mouth and you sound like you're eating. And for some reason, Chris Cody likes that sound. It's disgusting.
No, I'm more just interested in it because everyone knows the sound I'm talking about, the sound of, oh, I just clearly ate something. I want to know scientifically, is there just more saliva in the mouth? Like, what is happening that you can hear that somebody just ate?
That's right. I got Chris in a white lab coat, like doing experiments and stuff.
Well, technically.
He literally turned to me and goes, like, scientifically, it's got to be something.
All that's missing is you looking into a microscope and then looking at Charlotte and said, I've never seen anything.
A lot of mocking, no answers, though.
Metastasize this quickly before.
Eureka.
Get me the president.
CSI Science by Chris Cody. I like that show.
Just mock me without any answers.
I would watch it. I would watch it.
But why are you finding that sound? That sound is disgusting.
I'm not like going home and listening to it with my eyes closed.
Chris Cody, listen to me.
ASMR.
Okay? If I'm going, look, Mike, do people not see what's happening around?
There are very few LeBatards, let's say, or Stephen A. Smiths.
Sure, right.
If we're all kind of equal, right? There's not much of a difference between all of us. You might as well go with a guy who's from Long Island, okay?
Yeah.
Who's a Met fan, a Jet fan, okay? An Islander fan, but also a guy who will bring you $5 million in advertising because he's been doing this for 22 years. General manager, whoever the GM of the station is, I've done your job. Program director, done your job. Gio, done your job. Al, I've done your job. Eddie, I've done your job. Update anchors, I have done your job. That's what makes me so likable and relatable. They have until next Friday to hire me. I have no idea what's going on with Booms, okay? I am not trying to push him out the door.
Oh, my God.
That is not my intention. I'm just telling you, if anyone wants to hire me here full time and actually pay me, unlike the next 2 days, I will tell you this. By Friday.
This is like seeing someone you're dating on a dating app. It's like watching your swipe. It's your boyfriend. Dan, you don't deserve this.
I thought there would be something in him. It's like, wow, he sounds different. It's just him. He's the same. He's doing the exact same notes, just everything.
Lucy, it's not like seeing someone you're dating on a dating app. It's like seeing someone you're dating on a date, actively, like singing
like
his praises and everything.
You're watching someone propose.
I think it's worse than that. I don't know if it's an older movie, Boogie Nights, but I have been for a long time the William H. Macy character who arrives every day and his wife is having sex in the driveway with a crowd around them. For him to go up there and promise advertising that he can't get Meadowlark Media, like for him to go up there on air and say
$5 million worth.
Like, where is that money, Stugotz? We could use it as a company that keeps hiring people that you own a piece of. Like, what are you doing?
Maybe he just means in the New York area, because he flexes New York bona fides very
But
prominently.
why would you go on the most popular sports radio station in New York and lobby for a job that overtly that you're promising them advertising through your sales lies that you cannot deliver?
Boogie Nights, Dan. Amazing movie.
You saw it?
Yeah. Come on.
That
the
small
opening
indie
tracking
flick?
shot
Every
with the
ti- wait a
rollerblades,
minute.
it mimics
Every
Goodfellas.
time I talk to Jessica and Tony, anybody under 30, and I'm mentioning a movie from 20 years ago, they haven't heard of it.
Well, I'm over 30.
Oh, wow.
The star of Oddball. Charlotte Wilder, do you have any more information from the streets,
Yeah.
Amin, of about Larry Lechuga?
His name is Lucas.
Oh, yeah.
Lucas Lechuga.
How many times are you going to get fined today?
WhyLucas.com.
I feel like, put it on the poll, Juju, at LeBatard Show. Better name for a real estate huckster, Lucas Lechuga or Larry Lechuga?
Why is he a huckster?
Because he works in Miami.
Oh. Lucas, if you got any deals on real estate, luxury real estate, I'm here for it. WhyLucas.com.
It has to be luxurious Lucas Lechuga.
I've
correct?
got his
Are you on his website right now?
LinkedIn, and now I'm going to Why Lucas. Which do you want first?
Why Lucas?
You know what? While we're here, let's update some polls. Shall we?
Yeah.
This week's polls are brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Epic razors, epically affordable. Find them in stores or online. Is Larry Lechuga a good name for a food truck? 60% says yes.
Is this only funny to Spanish people? The word lechuga,
funny.
lettuce, is a funny word. That can't be that man's name. He is successfully advertised by calling himself Larry Lettuce.
Dan, I have a question for you. You think he chose that? You think he do you really think that he wasn't just stuck with Larry? Lucas, his name isn't even Larry. And also, his website is absolutely stunning.
Oh, man.
Oh, my. WhyLucas.com.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like selling Sunset, but with dudes.
What?
The show is selling Sunset.
He also looks 5'6". He's short.
Meet Lucas has a video of him on his phone. And then he has a tab on his website called Website.
Does he ever not look cool? I mean, geez.
That's a cool looking dude, man. I hope that I can one day live a Lucas Lechuga lifestyle. Maybe live in one of these condos.
You can get the Lucas Lechuga app, though.
I'll get the app. Hey, Lucas, I will do promo for you.
Oh, there it is.
In return for...
There it is.
I don't even need a place to stay. Just a place to crash every once in a while.
You already have done He owes you money. You've done promo
This
for
should
him.
absolutely result in Amin bringing in $5 million
Yes.
in advertising because he's willing to stay at Larry Lechuga's luxurious homes, labyrinths, and do the real estate suckering that everyone in South Florida is doing, where these people are all phony con people.
I'll do a whole content series for old Lucas, man. I'll stay at one of the places. I'll let people know, look how cool and fun it is. Why don't you want to live here? You could be doing this cool, fun stuff too. And then I move to the next place, and then we keep doing it over and over. Oh, the Elser. The Elser is one of the buildings. Oh, wow. How about that? We'll start here.
Should seeing Stugotz fake laugh at Gio make Dan feel like his wife is cheating on him? 91% say yes.
It is really unctuous. It is the foulest thing. Why is he out there telling everybody, hire me by Friday? He's got a contract.
Is there a non-compete?
Now you know how the Portland Trailblazers feel, Dan.
Have you ever had an armpit injury?
Heyo.
Have you ever had an armpit injury?
Yes.
75% say no.
I have.
You
pulled your armpit?
What happened?
I tore a muscle that's like right under the connective tissue between the armpit and like the pec. I did that playing soccer. It was like the worst 15 minutes of my life. I had a back spasm. I sprained my ankle, and then I
Oddball, where sports expertise meets athletic experience, starring Charlotte Wilder. What else you have in the polls?
That's it for the polls, Dan. And if you haven't had enough pain this week, it's time now for Thursday Thunder.
Oh.
I love this music.
It's pretty good. It is pretty good.
It is time for Thursday Thunder, where we give you a winning parlay, and we honestly haven't been great lately, but we're going to try to be better for you today.
We've been bad lately?
Juju Gotti has picked this one because this room has tried the last few weeks, and it hasn't gone well. So these are coming from Juju Gotti, who is probably paying attention to sports more than we all are. So I would go with him rather than us.
Juju is somebody who has, I believe, the highest popularity rating in our entire universe. So
him and Tim Kirkchin.
So now, though, we've got to be careful, though, because when he's got the responsibility of their money on his hands, he's not afraid of this responsibility?
Well, also, we just kind of slacked at doing it, and he just stepped up and...
Okay, typical. Yes, typical.
I can tack my name on if he wants, and then if it loses, it's my fault.
The first leg, the Atlanta Dream money line tonight. The second leg, Dodgers money line tonight. And the U.S. women money line on Sunday. Okay. Thursday / bleeding into Sunday parlay.
But Juju, did he just take the Dodgers against the A's? Are the Dodgers playing the A's where they're the giant favorite and he took them on the money line? Because the Dodgers have kicked the holy hell out of the A's the last couple of days because the A's are the worst baseball team in history.
Just Googling real quick, Dodgers versus A's, when is it?
That's the question.
I'll get back to you, Dan.
No,
Thursday Thunder, brought to you by our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. You can follow our parlay on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Back to you, Dano.
Thank you. I've gotten into baseball. I have. I mean, I'm watching the other day, and there's a guy for the Twins, Duran, who comes out of the bullpen, and he threw a 101-mile-an-hour splitter. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Jesus. Yeah, I've never seen such a thing. I'm like, it's not – the ball had movement at 101 miles an hour. It just wasn't 100 miles per hour. And everybody out there is at a skill level that is asinine. It's absurd. But I can't cover baseball because Amin's still got complaints about the swampiness I can smell from over here because you spent 90 minutes in the heat and then went over to Duffy's.
Well, to listen to you guys talk about – oh, there we go. Take cover.
But that has happened to me several times throughout my career, where guys just rise or ascend, or I rise and ascend, and I forget about the little people.
Right, of course. Yeah, right. Just stop. Yeah, forget about you. No longer.
I played that one.
Yeah, that's bad production by you. We've come to get used to it on Thursdays. We already heard it, and you interrupted him to do it as well. So that's good work by you. Amin was in the middle of a thought.
Full circle, because that's what you guys played when I was outside. Yeah, and you guys were so hot to trot to play that.
Good night, everyone.
Yes.
Hey.
Go outside and sit. You know what? You go walk in your swampiness over to be with Larry Lechuga as well.
Lucas!
I literally can't run this switchboard if Chris
That's
leaves.
fine. I'm putting you in charge. Get out of here. You can just leave.
Really leave?
Yes. I don't want you here anymore.
It's not the same when you send them away at the end of the day. Now, all he's doing is going home now.
But I want him to walk past Larry Lechuga as he does it.
Dude, he's going to – by the way, that Lucas Lechuga sign – I know now why Dan was like, oh, it's right across the street because it's on Dan's commute home.
That's right.
Oh,
and so that's where he sees it every day. He's like, oh, it's right there. And it's not right there.
Right.
It's not right there.
You're like, oh, I drive by it, so it must be right there.
So I'm at dinner with Brad yesterday, and he turns and he looks at me and he's like, yeah, it's pretty cool that Charlotte's a physicist, right? And I'm like, what?
Wait, what?
Like, she's a physicist. Someone said she was a physicist. I said, yeah, we joked about it, and then we pointed out she didn't know the difference between Mega Millions and Powerball.
Okay, first of all, I will argue that doesn't make me dumb, just a little naive. Brad, you thinking I'm a physicist is maybe the nicest thing that someone has ever thought about me.
So I'm the new guy here. I don't know your dynamic. I don't know who's like joking, who's serious. Someone yesterday,
she's a physicist,
said that Charlotte is a physicist and said it like so stone cold that I was like, oh, well, she must be a physicist. And I don't know. You carry yourself like a physicist. I don't know if that makes sense, but you do. You act like you know stuff.
I got Charlotte walking in and saying, like, look at these readings as she puts the papers down, and someone's like, well, so it looks a little high. A little high? These are 6 times higher than the highest recorded levels we've ever had in the history of mankind. That asteroid's coming right for us.
Is that physics, though?
I was just going to ask. I'm embarrassed. What does a physicist do? They work with physics, but doing what?
Have you seen Oppenheimer?
No.
There you go.
Billy, what are we eating?
Oh.
You can hear it.
This is the science.
You can actually smell it, too.
I can hear when people have just eaten something.
Yeah. Well, can you? Then this is the test. What did I just eat?
A burger.
Well, you saw it.
It's right behind you.
You don't think Chris Cody could hear a burger? I can't describe how he can, but he
Why?
But he can. You can hear a burger.
Why do you say that?
Because you're a foodie.
Thank you.
Because you're fat.
Also,
saving a beaut.
Also because that's what was for lunch today.
Yeah.
Oh, that too.
Chris he's a food eat.
We ordered from Outback, and we ordered the chicken. Who orders the chicken
The
from
Alice
Outback?
Springs chicken.
I've seen that on the menu for decades, and I've never ordered it.
How do you order from Outback and I didn't see one bloomin' onion in there?
Yeah, what's going on there?
What? That's like that should be a crime that you go to Outback Steakhouse and not get a bloomin' onion.
Are we allowed to talk about the celebrity that we all just
Pinnock
met?
Award.
Are we allowed to talk about the celebrity we all just met?
I don't think we can mention. We can't mention who it was because it's a surprise. It's for South Beach Sessions, but this is
the biggest name that's been in this studio.
Clearly, yes.
Well, other than Dan, because he's fat.
I mean, Roy Wood Jr. was here.
Mike Breen was here.
Mike Wybon was here.
Yeah. Ernie Johnson.
Guys, I'm
Jr.
here now. That's pretty good, right?
Oh, yeah, that guy back there.
Got a tour.
Yeah, but I'm
Tour
a
24
I'm
on
a-
sale.
I'm a physicist, Brad.
Yesterday, after you guys all left, guess
Yeah.
who I brought for a tour of the studio?
Who's that, Amin?
John Crotty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like,
After we left.
You want to amend? You want to amend your list now?
Nope.
What?
I think I will.
The mystery guest is more important than John Crotty?
You've given more tours of this studio than anyone I know.
Because that's what you do. That's what you do, Billy. You give tours so that people get excited. They talk about it.
Yeah.
This is like your mixer. You bring them here. You make a name for yourself. You become a destination.
Look,
Then
you
you
know who
come.
I brought here once?
Who's that, Chris?
Random Marlins employee.
Oh, wow.
What's the name?
No one would know their name.
Like on your spare time, you just
they'd
brought
know.
them?
No, they were here. Like, yeah.
But they would know. They would like, oh, I got a shout out from Chris Cody, as opposed to some random Marlins employee trying to erase them from history. Or would they get in trouble for being here?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speak. I don't know if they were allowed to be
Just
here.
like we get in trouble for mentioning who just walked in the studio. By the way, the best part was, so this very famous, very important person was in the main studio, and we wanted to get started with the segment.
And I walked in, I said, get the f*** out.
Chris.
Okay. Mark that, please.
That sounds funny, but I don't think it's as funny as what actually
I'm in the marker
happened.
chair.
What
This is not
actually
good.
happened? Because we couldn't see. We're behind the glass here. We just see Chris go in and the very important guest goes out.
So I walk in and I plug my phone in, and I'm thinking that maybe me just being active is going to kind of like send the message that, hey, the things are starting to happen here. Maybe, Cougs, who's giving the tour, is like, oh, yeah, let's get out. But nothing happened, so I'm just kind of awkward. And so Chris walks in and says, hey, I didn't get to shake your hand.
I said that, first of all, I mumbled it very low that only you heard it. And because we had already from afar.
Wouldn't you need the person to hear that?
Wait. Did he or she not hear you say that?
I think
I
he
don't
heard.
think it. Let's go.
I think he or she heard.
I think that because there was a wave when the person first walked, I was doing work, and he kind of looked into the room and was like, hello, everyone, and I waved. So that was our first hello.
Yeah.
And then I went into the room and I was just like to myself, I'm like, I didn't get a chance before. Like, I know we already said, in case he was saying to himself, I've already said hello to this guy.
Yeah. No, he was probably like, I've
met so many people that I don't remember.
No, it was probably thinking, I have been dying to shake Chris Cody's hand. Thank God.
And I just wanted him to know that we hadn't shook yet. Hey, I haven't shook your hand yet.
He definitely did that, and then said, "We're about to start a segment."
Yeah.
So,
then I jokingly hit them with, "You don't gotta leave," but.
And he dot.
But you can't stay
here.
You
gotta get the hell out of here.
People in those positions must have really dirty hands, right? Like you're constantly touching other people's hands.
That's like me at Summer League.
It is not at all like you
It's
at Summer League. When the
Hit
people
him with
realize who it is that we're talking about, they will realize that you are not at the level that this person is at Summer League.
Charlotte was a witness.
Charlotte,
how many
the
people
physicist?
Charlotte the physicist. Give me Newton's laws of how often.
if there were a person affiliated with the NBA, and if Amin were also in the vicinity, there is a probability of 98% that Amin would shake that person's hand, sometimes do a half hug, occasionally a whole hug.
Initiated by them?
You know, it seemed pretty mutual both times.
Both.
I'm really into
Laws
that
of
right
attraction.
now. I'm into the slap high five and then going for the full hug. It used to be slap high five and then you bring in for like a half hug. I'm a big no real locking of the hands. It's like a slap hello and then a hug.
No, that's a level of familiarity and also like distance, like meaning I haven't seen you in quite a while, but I'm very familiar with you. Given that I see you every week, Chris, I would not accept that kind of salutation from you because it's like, dog, you saw me like 5 days ago. Why are we doing this again?
It's definitely someone you haven't seen in a while. I don't believe we do that because we see each other so often.
Yeah,
it's someone, if I haven't seen you in a couple months, though, it's a dap, and then I like to get both arms around you.
But I'm saying me and you have that kind of relationship. Right. If we hadn't seen each other for a while, you couldn't do that, for instance, with our mystery guest.
I'll go do it right now out there.
I dare you.
Don't do it.
I dare you.
I feel like this is my second time.
I didn't get a chance to do this either.
No, you should actually say, I didn't get a chance to shake your hand earlier and go do it. And maybe a kiss on the cheek.
I'll do it.
Well,
see how far you can push
it. Keep escalating
it.
Double kiss, both cheeks.
Show him your belly button.
Never.
Only if someone's recording this.
Yeah, I know. I was like, is this for content? Because I don't want to embarrass myself.
Absolutely, it's for content.
Lucy, what is your preferred greeting method?
I'm a hugger, but sometimes I realize that makes people uncomfortable. Yeah. So I just try to sense out the vibes. But I'm like, every time I shake someone's hand, I'm genuinely uncomfortable because that's not who I am.
We had a moment.
I want to embrace you.
I always feel weird. The other day there was a group dinner with Brad and Lucy and Jessica and Roy.
Thanks for the invite.
Well, I was a weird.
Literally everyone in this room was mentioned. Just
you weren't in town.
Like a handful
it was like
I
was invited by Brad. I don't know, man. Whatever. We're getting bogged down. At the end of it,
thanks, Brad.
Blame me. It's okay. Well, I'm intimidated. There's too many really intelligent people in this room, like Lucy. I mean, she's a physicist, for God's sakes.
And at the end of it, there was like this awkward moment.
Was that intentional? The other woman with brown hair and glasses?
Was, yeah.
God damn.
Sexist. It's fine.
Yeah, I knew that having two of us in here with the same color hair would break people's brains.
Yeah.
If Charlotte wore her glasses, it would be over for all you guys.
Brad told a story yesterday at dinner about going to his show at a comedy club. And so when he walked into the green room, there was another person in there already who was also a little person.
Yep.
And Brad's like, what are you doing here? And the guy's like, I don't know. I showed up and they just showed me right to the green room. They thought it was Brad.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That happened at Crackers Comedy Club. Yeah, there's a comedy club called Crackers.
There is.
They wouldn't let him in. It's in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, no wonder.
I walked to the green room and there's no little person. And when I saw that, I just thought to myself, thank God I got here on time, or else they would have just put that guy up on stage.
Now, let's try and play devil's advocate here. Did this person even remotely look like you?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No,
it was not. Let's just say their skin wasn't exactly my hue.
Oh no! Oh no!
Wow.
So it was Tony Cox.
Too soon.
He's still alive.
Tony Cox?
Yeah.
You know my favorite one of those?
$50 fine.
$50 fine.
Do you remember
Roy just killed dwarf great actor Tony Cox.
Do you remember when someone tweeted that Sheryl Crow must be rolling over in her grave, and she quote tweeted it and said, "I'm still alive." That was one of the greatest moments. Also, long live Sheryl Crow.
I like that as an expression, though, even if the person's not dead. Like, I like saying, you know, like, this person's rolling over in their grave.
That's the TNT guys thing. Like, whenever they're like, you know, Barkley does it all the time when he says, "Oh, Mark West is rolling over in his grave," like when the Suns weren't playing well and stuff. They do that a lot. It's a funny bit. Yeah, I'll give it to him.
It's kind of like stealing your bit a little bit. Like, they're not walking through that door.
Yeah, it's a little dude, I think I've said this on the show before, but like, did I tell you guys, I at Summer League, one of the basketball people I met was someone who knew Rick Pitino and said Pitino knows about Pitino game and doesn't like it.
No way.
Yes way. It blew my mind. I was like, oh, you know he knows all about it. Like, he does? I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I would never guess. And I'm like, what's he think of it? It's like, yeah, he doesn't like it. I'm like, shit.
Was any explanation offered, or was that it?
No.
He doesn't like it, and you moved on.
Yeah, I got the feeling from the guy that, like, it wasn't something that, it wasn't one of, Rick Pitino's not the kind of guy to say, why don't you like it? Like, it's just like, he says he doesn't like it, you just kind of move on and don't get your blood sucked.